Hey. So, well, since we have the Blue Nightmare finished up, and we were waiting on some parts for a little while here, especially the turbo kit to come in, we're getting back onto this red car. I just got done finished putting together the transmission with the 23 spline, and I'm working on getting everything assembled onto the engine so that I can pick it up off of the stand with the hoist here. And then we'll get our transmission bolted to it with our new clutch disc. And everything else here is pretty much cleaned up. I just swapped over the valve cover. I know it's not that pretty, but this is what we had. This is what was here. And with wanting to get stuff done, we're making stuff look good. But this, I think, is going to be more of a function thing. But it's still going to look nice. So this is always something that can get changed down the road, whether we get a powder coated one or something. I got to get the bolts out for the rest of the manifold here. I had to get the seal because I needed one of these to run in here. So it was funny, like no one had one of these in stock. And for some reason I didn't have none. I've never had to replace one. So I have this, and I did put this on because I was going to set it down in, but it actually came sooner than what I expected it. So I'm going to get that on. I got to dig out these two bolts here. Then we'll have our line on. We're going to get the chain on this thing. I got to trim the plastic cover here for this to fit. I located my center mount bolt. I have my bracket there. I did have some of this stuff zip tied up so that it was held up out of the way when we did the pressure wash in the engine bay. Now, there's a couple more things that I got to get together and get out. And then we can get this thing down in. I'm going to trim this hose back because I have the block off for that. I'm going to look and see if I actually have a nice piece of silicone hose to use. Something similar to this. This is the kit that Modern sells, this little piece of hose with a block off. It just looks better than what was on there. I had one where someone had the old stock hose and they actually cut it, and it actually broke here and sprayed coolant all over everything in a car. I don't know who did that. It looked like they had part of a spark plug shoved in there. So I guess with that being said, that's kind of just real quick going over what we're trying to get accomplished here. We're only going to work on this thing a couple, maybe 20 or 30 minutes here yet before we have to go and eat dinner. So let's put this thing on time lapse. Let's try to get something done. Alright, so we got the motor on the floor, plates on, ARP bolts holding our flywheel in, but as you note, we ordered this, and we ordered the clutch, and this is the clutch that we were sent, and it's, here's your stock. See if we can take a look at that. So we know we have a big difference there. Definitely not fitting, okay? So here we have the ACT clutch that was sent with it. Transmission side. And not fitting the transmission. So where did we run into these problems? So you can see it is slightly bigger. Then this one. Kind of just set it like that. So I don't know if they sent me the wrong thing or what the deal is here. So I guess we got to figure this out tomorrow. This should technically fit on here either way. Okay, so good morning. I did make a phone call. Like I said, I've done lots of clutches, test fitted lots of discs over it, and for some reason it did not want to slide over this last night. Now, so far from what I was told, like I said, I made a phone call, got some more information. I'm told that it is a very tight fit, so it'll be a little harder to slide over the input shaft. All right. So with that being said, I want to show this. Okay, so this is our stock clutch. All right, now this is the flywheel side and the pressure plate side. So when you slide this onto your stock shaft, you have quite a bit of flop. Okay, so this is the characteristic. This is what you hear. All right, some of this noise, you'll hear this noise from the clutch, okay? All right, because it wobbles around, moves. It's just, it doesn't matter where on the shaft. It's just there's the tolerances are just there to allow that to move. Now, basically, I was explaining, double check, make sure the splines are right. I double checked my part numbers with the website, called them, double checked the numbers, okay? And it is the correct one, okay? So unless it was manufactured wrong, it's the right one. So basically, how can I say it? This, like look, normally like they'll slide right down on the trans, okay? So it's really freaking tight here. See that? All right. I'm going to grab another transmission with a stock shaft just to show how much easier it'll slide down on that one. This is a stock shaft, stock disc, transmission side. It just falls right on. Okay. So that easy. Now, so initially, my thought when I tried to put that on there, that something just wasn't right. So, like I said, I just called. I asked if anybody else had that issue. And basically, that's what I was explaining to, that it is a tight tolerance of the way it fits on the shaft. So, well, I figured out that that was the issue. Normally, when I come across stuff like this, I always like to share it. So hopefully that helps anybody that is going to be messing with any of these 23 spline transmissions and using the ACT disc. I'm planning to put this in another car with the exact same setup. So for now, I found out what the issue is. What I can say is when it comes time to getting this clutch and transmission assembled, it's tough with the ACT clutch and the standard disc with an alignment tool to get this installed. Now I'm going to be using a standard tool, just kind of trying to line it up hopefully here, and that's going to have to be perfect for that stuff to slide together. So this is going to be it's going to be pretty tight. Let's flip it over once. So it doesn't, like I said, it just doesn't fall right on like the stock one does. Okay, so we have our clutch alignment tool. What the heck, I'll pull it out. So I have installed the plastic bushing that comes with your ACT clutches. Now, basically what you do is you grab one of these that actually fits into that bushing. All right. They have two levels. This kind of fits right on the edge of this. It's as tight as what I have that it's going to get. So you put that through, get it in line, and then it's coned. And then that centers it out right here because this is coned. And then we'll just hold this thing straight. And what we'll do is we'll tighten down all of our bolts for our clutch. All right, so I'm busy working on tightening it up. Usually I just do these centers and then I go back and forth and then I get my clutch seated. But here's our alignment tool. Like I said, you push this forward and it kind of centers it out. So we have this in our pilot bearing there, and then we'll push this into the center. See how it just kind of solids itself out, and then you line it up. That's just a universal clutch alignment tool. They all seem to work pretty good. I haven't used one that often. Normally I have the correct one. So I'm going to get this tightened down, and hopefully we can get our transmission to slide right on. Socket here. So now you never want to force this together, but I'm just trying to get these started to aid with alignment. So let's see. Let me get in here. Normally I'll run one of these down there in this lower corner. This way at least gives me like a triangulation. I got one on the top, one in the back, one in the front. So you can see we're really tight all the way around, even back down here. So the whole idea is you're pretty much going in evenly all the way around. All right. I'm gonna pop this. I'll pop this lower one out. I'll put it back up here where it's supposed to be, and then basically we're going to be down to. I can slide this lower bracket right here and underneath, and then I can work on getting everything else bolted together with that. All right, so down in here, we got the lower bracket on. Had to lift the motor up just a little bit. All right, I got the back tightened. Also have the front triangle bracket on. That's what I call it. All right, I usually just, I don't know. I do that just because I already have my seal already pre-lubricated. But make sure everything's clean when you're sliding this in here. Okay. A lot of people, for some reason, have problems with these. But, as you see, we just went right in. All right, that's good and tightened up. Now, come over here on this side. You can see we have our bracket on. I didn't tighten these down. These two here can be tightened down, but this one here will be for the power steering. So I just didn't have the 15 out yet. Sometimes I'll put the starter in, but it does make it easier to get to this to plug it in when you're putting the harness on. And pretty much with that, other than right here, I want to make sure that I get all this done. I want to torque down my manifold. I want to tighten this line here up. And we will pretty much be ready to set this thing down into the engine bay. Now, we do got some stuff that we have to do there. For that, I got to get these zip ties cut up and out of the way. But this car did not have a shifter cable heat shield. So I have one of those out. It's cleaned up and it's ready to be installed. But we're going to have to get this thing up on the lift. And I'm going to have to clean up some of my mess here. I did dig out the transmission mount. So I do have a new kit of rubber bushings. This isn't that bad. Most of the time, most people don't grind these off. But we have the whole kit, so we're putting new bushings on. I'll just stick them aside. Maybe I'll use them for something later. But I'll have some spare bushings, used ones. But we're going to have all new here, all right? Well, let's get this stuff done. All right, engine hoist is put away. No more motor on the floor. Sitting down in the bay. So, other than spilling a little bit of coolant that was in the heater core, everything pretty much went in as it should. We got our new bushings installed. I had to find some bolts for this because they just weren't in the box. I don't think they were right when we pulled them out. So everything's good there. Looks like this core support's bent up just a little bit, so I'll have to tap that down. I can work on getting this front lower bracket installed, the AC compressor, get the power steering pump up where it's supposed to be. I can get the lower engine mount on. I can get the upper engine mount. Well, I'll probably wait for those, honestly, because we need to get that giant turbo slid back in behind here. Sometimes what I'll end up doing is I'll put the jack under the trans and I'll lower that down. But we have some other things that we need to take care of. It was kind of weird on the last car that it kind of fit. Also, but like I said, you know, if you got some room here, see? The motor moves. So we'll get that situated. I think I'm going to order a fitting to put here. And then that way I can just 90 right down over into, well, my catch can that we're going to be installing. Very little yet. I mean, you know, probably the most major thing right now will be, don't get me wrong, we got to install the turbo kit. But that's not that hard. Going over the wiring harness is going to be a little bit of time consuming. And the fuel system is probably going to be the biggest pain in the butt right now, because we'll have to run all the lines. We're going to be running a let me think, fuel rewire along with everything else. So I'll have to get everything cleaned up. Just basically, you know, get everything down in, get it installed. I'm not going to worry about getting a base tune for the 1650s. I'm going to use the stock injectors. I'm going to get them installed. I'll set base pressure as 58, which is stock. I'll be able to start this thing up, bring it up to temp, run it at 2,000 RPMs, get the rings to seat, basically get the motor broken in, and then we'll do a couple heat cycles, and then I'll run this thing in and out my driveway just to make sure that everything's working good. And then I guess we'll get our HP tuner set up, and we will, you know, go from there. But hey, we're taking a couple steps forward with what I'm saying. So I'm just happy to see the engine sitting down in here. This was quite a bit of work. So the next thing we'll be doing in the next video is going to be getting the turbo kit installed. So other than having a couple issues with figuring out the clutch disc, like I said, I've never had one fit quite so tight. That's why I wanted to show it and just let other people know. So I'm going to make sure I put that in my in the tags, you know, how that it fits tight. So, but anyway, here we go. It's ready.